Hey guys, Victoria here, and welcome to the Geeky Sandbox. So I'm going to give you guys my thoughts over Daredevil, Born Again, episodes 1 and 2. If you guys have not watched episodes 1 and 2 and you don't want spoilers, then definitely save this video for later. Go ahead and add it to your watch later list. But if you are down to hear how it is, or you're trying to see if it's something you want to watch, stay tuned. First talk about the first episode, then give you guys my thoughts on the second episode, and then like an overall thing. I thought episode 1 was really, really good. I think it really set the scene. In the first 15 minutes, my mouth was just hanging open because I was like, surely they're not going to kill one of our trio, right? They're not going to kill one of our originals. It definitely shifts your expectations from what the trailers show you to what actually happens in the first episode. And I think it's good because we know as the story goes with Daredevil Born Again and Matt Murdock at this point, which we talked about in our trailer reaction video, Matt has to really get to this very dark, grimy place. And I think a death like Foggy is incredibly impactful to someone like Matt Murdock, right? I mean, for crying out loud, the company, their whole law firm is called Murdock and Nelson and Murdock. And so I did not think it was going to happen. I was like, man, he's looking good. They just had a nice night out. But then I should have known something felt like it was just off. There's another lawyer who kind of questions Foggy, like, why are you representing these people? That's actually what ends up getting Foggy killed. Not necessarily the person he's representing, but he was hiding the person that he was representing from Bullseye. And so, of course, we know Bullseye is I don't know if I would say iconic, but iconic in the sense of like Daredevil. His intention was to kill that person that Foggy was hiding, but as a result of Foggy's actions, Foggy ends up getting killed as like a reckless kind of like, well, I'm going to kill you too because of this. And Bullseye ends up actually killing multiple people throughout the bar that the group had just walked out of. And it's established very early on that Matt hasn't put on the suit and done his whole Daredevil thing in a long time. So this is an emergency. He realizes he needs to do it, and he does it. And then one of the things that I think is probably going to be highlighted a lot in this series is just how not quick enough Matt was to save Foggy. Like, he feels horrible about that. It's like, what's the point of wearing the suit if I'm not going to be able to save the people I care about? So it kind of jumps forward a whole year within the first episode, which, like I said, is very, very bold. Karen and Matt are estranged. They're not talking. Matt has created his own new company with the other lawyer that Foggy was friends with and speaking to in the beginning of the episode. And Matt's trying to move on, and he's trying to keep things like low. But obviously he's still suffering a lot. They do go to the hearing for Bullseye, and he's given life in prison without the possibility of parole for 11 counts of murder. Matt may be low-key happy that there's some action going on and he can kind of like unleash his dark side. But on the other hand, I feel like he is genuinely concerned because we find out that Fisk is back. And I love Vincent's portrayal of Fisk, especially this version of Fisk. He's seen it all. He's been shot in the face by Maya and Echo. Like, he's done it all, right? He brings so much to this character. I think my favorite scene in the first episode is just them two sitting down and talking about what's been going on in their lives. They sit down and they talk about what's been going on in their lives, and they kind of give each other a polite but not so polite warning. Like, Fisk is running for mayor, and that bothers Matt. And he's like, if you do anything weird, if you look the wrong way, if you breathe the wrong way, I'm going to be there. And of course, Fisk is taunting him in the sense of like, I know you're saying you're not Daredevil. I know you wanted to kill Bullseye on that rooftop. Is that the version of you that's coming after me? And Matt's just like, if you do what you're supposed to do, you're not going to find out. But one of Fisk's goals as mayor of New York is to do some kind of like treatment for vigilantes. I know he says some of his opponents wanted to have them sign up, kind of like the Sokovia Accords, something like that, but for the vigilantes in this universe. Vincent's like, no, I want some sort of treatment for them. So he's like, I don't want any costume freaks running around Hell's Kitchen, New York, none of that. So make sure you stay off the streets or it's going to be a problem. And so they kind of have this whole face off. There is a slight romance plot going on, which I love this actress. I last saw her in Revenge, which I really loved her portrayal of Amanda Clark / Emily Thorne. So it was nice just to see a familiar face pop up. The first episode does end on a very heavy note. Fisk wins the election and he's officially mayor of New York. And Fisk is promising again. The whole theme of this is that he's a new man. He is a whole new made person, which is kind of mirrors what Matt is doing. Matt is a new person, but he's been forced to be this new person because of the death of Foggy. And so they kind of have a stare down at the end of the first episode, and it really does get you hyped for the second one. So episode 2 really follows just Fisk kind of settling in the whole like first 100 days in office kind of thing. And you see the old Fisk just kind of showing up between and behind those cracks as things just kind of happen throughout him trying to settle into this new like mayor position. Like, for example, one of the big things he's trying to do this episode is get in touch with, I think his name was Commissioner Gallo. He doesn't want him to quit, and a young smart reporter that kind of has been following the story and everything, she tells him, if you lose the police, you lose the people of New York, you lose this election. And so he is hell-bent on trying to keep the commissioner on and keep the police staff that comes with him that would leave if he left. And the way he goes about it is blackmailing him, of course. And so we kind of have that going on in episode 2 because Commissioner Gallo sees exactly what Fisk is, who Fisk was, and he sees that he's not going to be a completely changed man. With that being said, Matt Murdock's relationship with Heather is still growing very strong. They're going on cute dates and things like that. But there's a weird development that comes into play here. When Heather is at one of her book signings for one of her therapy self-help books, Wilson's right-hand man guy kind of shows up, and I don't know if he specifically sought her out because she knows Matt Murdock. That hasn't been revealed. At least that's what I was thinking, but we're still not sure if that's something he knows or if it was specifically done so that way that they could find a therapist for Vanessa and Wilson as they try to work through their relationship. They kind of lightly talk about just how much she was affected by the events that happened within Hawkeye's show, and then also where he went off just to try to like get Maya back into his good graces because he looked at her as a daughter. And so just everything that happened with that, you see just exactly how lost and hurt Vanessa was, and how she even seems like she's turned to even another relationship while Fisk was gone, and the resentment there, and how she built this whole empire. She made it her baby, and now he's back and he doesn't want anything to do with the empire that Kingpin had. And now it's just very like clean, air quote clean, properly funded election or like political run that he's doing here. She doesn't seem too pleased about that. I'm curious to see what happens with their relationship and how that's going to affect what we see from Wilson Fisk. One thing I do want to point out too is I didn't talk about the introduction of the episodes. The song is fantastic. We love the theme song for Daredevil, and they kind of have a different mix on it, a little bit more melancholy, which I think is really awesome, a nice addition. And then like all the statues and stuff we saw within the first original series, we see them now, they're kind of crumbling and decaying, and throughout all of that rises Daredevil in the end. So I thought that was very, very, very interesting. You even see the scales of justice crumbling and Lady Liberty crumbling, and it's just so well done and beautifully made. Matt Murdock decides to represent a man named Hector Ayala, who we find out is White Tiger in this series. And essentially what happened with Hector Ayala was, I'm assuming he was going home to his wife, and he saw that these two guys were beating up this one random guy. And so he stepped in, and they kind of said, no, let us deal with this. Like, we've got this. But he intervenes, and the guy that they were like beating up runs away from the subway platform. While they were fighting and all the like tussling and stuff, one of the guys accidentally falls and gets hit by a train. And then the other guy pulls out a gun, reveals he's the police. So it's kind of like what's going on here. And they haven't quite revealed what exactly were these cops doing and how dirty are they and what's happening. If they're dirty, what's happening, right? Throughout all this, Matt Murdock tries to help Hector. He knows he's innocent, and he goes to great lengths to try to prove he's innocent by getting Cherry to go along with him. They are trying their best just to gather whatever evidence they can, and of course in that's how they find out that he's White Tiger. And Cherry knows who Matt Murdock is. He knows that he's Daredevil, and he knows that this case means a lot to him, but Matt assures him like, no, I just hate to see an innocent man go down. So through a lot of effort and time, Matt ends up finding the guy from the platform. and he ends up convincing him to leave the apartment and go somewhere safe. And we get some of the iconic pain-inducing scenes, and I say pain like sympathy pains. Like, it's pretty awesome just to kind of see Matt go at it, and he wasn't trying to hide his face, he wasn't trying to hold back. Like, you could tell this was something he probably been holding back for quite a while, because at the end of the episode he just screams. And there's a lot of hints and clues dropped throughout this episode. For example, whenever Foggy is talking about the dark times and things like that, we can kind of speculate that he's talking about the blip, or as we know it, the snap, and everything that happened with everyone that disappeared. And whenever you hear in episode 2 references to Spider-Man, he's doing his own thing after being erased, essentially. And so I imagine Fisk has seen him swinging around New York and Queens and things like that. But yes, guys, I like what we've seen so far, and I'm super into this. I'm gonna be so sad, but also hyped to just have to wait every week. So like, it's gonna be something to look forward to, but I'm also like, I want it all right now. But yes, guys, if you like this video, go ahead and give me a like rating down below. And of course, if you're new around here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you can get more videos like this. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.